Live from New York at the show, it's wishing you another Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Not for the same year, but another greeting.
Well, when you wished it yesterday, it wasn't, or 2 days ago, it wasn't.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's our first show of
Now it's a
2025.
I'm excited. A lot of new things are going to happen.
KW.
And I'm getting rid of some stuff, too.
Yeah,
Namely the letter,
I don't know if
finally.
it's for the best.
KW.
Yes.
When you first walked into that building in Midtown in 2020, sat across the table from me, do you think we'd still be doing this in 2025?
You know
Drew
what?
and I always planned for 10 years.
I had high
but
hopes that I wouldn't be, but
I knew it. I knew you were
Just a stepping stone.
exactly right.
still here.
Deputy Commissioner of the NBA, Kevin Wildes, instead
First hour.
telling jokes.
First things first. We're starting
It's all positive.
not so positive for Patrick Mahomes. No Mahomes in the Pro Bowl. Number 1 seed, 15 wins, but for the first time since becoming a starter, Mahomes is left off the roster. 5 Chiefs did make it, 3 of Mahomes' linemen, along with Chris Jones and Travis Kelce, who may have benefited from the Swifty bump.
Yeah, probably.
AFC quarterbacks and their numbers, Lamar, Josh, and Burrow all made it. Mahomes did not. His passer rating, 20 plus behind some guys, and only 28 touchdowns. So your reaction to this perceived snub?
Well, first of all, this is objectively great for the Chiefs.
I buy it.
And believe it or not, Vegas agrees. Just not by a lot, but the Chiefs became slightly bigger Super Bowl favorites this morning.
No.
Now, maybe that's coincidental. And I
like
just
that it's
know
not.
that
Nah, it's
they
probably
were
related.
in most shops plus 370-ish as the favorites, and this morning they're as low as plus 340, and in most places about plus 360. So just a little bit. So maybe other things moved the market, but I didn't see anything else happening in the football world today, like injury news or anything like that. So that part, maybe they thought the vibes in Philly were off, and that's why it moved, or maybe they thought Patrick Mahomes is famous for being very, very petty and taking slights very, very personally, and employing Bobby Stroop for 2 reasons. One is he's one of the best personal trainers in the world, and the other is he has a categorical memory and Twitter feed just of Patrick Mahomes slights that I'm pretty sure he yells at him while he's training. So there is that. But aside from that, this is outrageous. Because if you would have the NFL media, which votes on the Pro Bowl and votes on the awards and sets the narratives, tell it, the Chiefs are the best team in football and 15-1 for no reason whatsoever. Do they have the best players? Clearly not, because here's the list of teams with more awesome players than the Chiefs. Although the Ravens have damn near double. Okay, so it's not do they have the best defense? Oh, no, definitely not. Only one great defensive player. That's the list of teams with more defensive Pro Bowlers than the Chiefs. Ravens have 4. Again, the Ravens, God only knows how they've lost 5 times as many games as Kansas City. They're a super team, again, according to the media. Okay, so they don't have the most talent. They don't have the best defense, obviously. We know they don't have the best coach because Andy's 40-1 to win Coach of the Year.
But I think it's a big nod to Andy.
So the other thing we would be like, oh, the quarterback must have carried them. Nope, not at all. In no world did he carry them. He's clearly not having that great of a year. In fact, he's having such a bad year, we have to break all types of precedent because NFL history says whether I'm a quarterback wins guy or not, the voters always have been. You win 15 games as the starting quarterback all year, you're a Pro Bowler. Jim McMahon made it. If we drop it to 14 games, 14 wins, they all made it except for 3. So let's discuss the 3 who didn't. One was Phil Simms. In a year, he had more interceptions than touchdowns. Seems maybe a little fair. He did go on to win the Super Bowl. The other one was Brady when he had a middling year and they were coming off missing the playoffs. He was not yet the guy. You know what I mean?
He missed it another year, but not with that.
And not with 14 wins. And he then, of course, went on to win the Super Bowl.
That's a good graphic.
And so this is what is frustrating. If you had the NFL media tell it, the Chiefs, who have more wins, the best record against playoff teams of anyone in the league, has the two, it's the AFC Pro Bowls, right? The two best divisions in the AFC, Brew, we would agree, are the AFC North and the AFC West. The Chiefs have played 9 of their games against those two divisions, and they've swept them all. And if you'd have the NFL media tell you it's actually because of no one. They don't have that many good players. The quarterback's not carrying them. The coach can't win Coach of the Year. The defense isn't that great. So, yeah, it is an outrage, and it's ridiculous, which is why we started talking about it a few days ago. And I'm very curious what you're going to say, because a few days ago, you said Mahomes has to be there. And now
Pro Bowl, yes.
Yeah. And I think Mahomes is what should have been a lock, and then we can argue about the guy who's sadly going to miss out, but it shouldn't have been him.
Do you want to go?
No, you go.
Now, let me quickly. It's a combination of the media, players, and fans, right?
Yes.
Okay. He was 8th. Now, that was the whole league.
Yes.
But he was 8th among fans. What was he in the AFC?
5th.
Do you know?
Okay. I believe it was behind the 3 who got in and Bo Nix.
Yes. So he was 8th or 5th among fan voting. That does mean, because the fact that he moved up to 4th does mean the media, he may have been 3rd in the media and player vote. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how they weigh it, but he may have made it on most media ballots or whatever. And look, we did it, what was it, Friday or a couple days ago? And I had Lamar, Josh, and Mahomes. Yeah. And I feel, I still feel that's how it should have been. But I am not going to get up in arms. I'm not going to go ballistic about it because I get what they're thinking. I mean, Nick, Pro Bowl is more of an individual award than the MVP. MVP team wins come into play. I think they do a little in the Pro Bowl and should a tiny bit. Like if you win 2 games as a quarterback or something, you shouldn't be eligible, I don't think. But I think individual stats and stuff are more for Pro Bowl. Or otherwise, a Max Crosby, a Brock Bowers, a Myles Garrett. Garrett won 4 games. They wouldn't, you know what I mean? They wouldn't make the Pro Bowl if it was just about records.
I think records we really only apply to quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like nobody thinks there's like left tackle wins or defense.
Okay. That's fine. I also think that past history, which the reason I think Josh Allen is MVP is a lot to do with past precedent, past history. So that doesn't come into play when you're talking about Pro Bowls. And look, Nick, I'm not even trying to I think the only argument for Mahomes is QB wins. That's it. I mean, we saw the stats, and this is why I have been so up in arms all season about I want to see the real Patrick Mahomes. Because things like this matter. He is the best I've ever seen at quarterback. And he did not have that type of year. Nick, this is Jordan or LeBron averaging 18 points a game in their prime.
Hold on, but what if, can we show Mahomes' season? He had a 6-game slump to start the year.
But that's part of the season.
I know, of course.
You always go there, but that's part of the season.
No, but I'm not denying it's part of the season. But to me, to use your example, it's MJ or LeBron, and not averaging 18 for the season, but averaging 12 for a month, and then getting right back to their career averages for the next 3 months, but it drags it down. That's his career numbers.
Even 98 passer rate.
I mean, his career
everybody else was better than that. I'm saying the 3 that made it are better than that. The 3 that made it had a higher touchdown percentage than even him at 20-3. Lamar had 4 interceptions for the whole season. I'm just saying, to me, that is the only argument is QB wins.
So here's the thing, because I don't think it is in conflict for me to think, you will use the guy we used to always argue about quarterback wins about. Jimmy Garoppolo's quarterback wins were almost, not entirely, but almost entirely meaningless to me when evaluating how he played and who he was and his role in those victories. Was he to use the Barkley thing, the tractor or the trailer? Was he the bus driver?
Right. Passenger.
And I don't think that is at all a conflict in watching the Kansas City Chiefs this year saying they are the Super Bowl favorite, they have the best record. And as good as Burrow and Lamar and Allen have been, do I think they would be 15-1 with any of those guys playing quarterback? I don't, and I don't think anybody does.
I don't disagree with that, because Mahomes is the culture setter, the tone setter, all that. I agree. But that's all hypothetical. That's all theory. That's all based on last year and the year before, the past 6 years.
My point is,
even when he was 6 touchdowns, 8 picks, they were 6-0 against great teams. So that undercuts, he got it going, and that's what it didn't turn the season around. So it was going well anyway.
But this is what is frustrating to me. It feels to me, Wilds, like not that I've been alone in this, but I have been pulling the reason quarterback wins is such a hot button issue is because it is how historically, including the MVP voting a year ago, the media agreed I was wrong, you guys were right. That quarterback wins are, as you put it, the stat.
Yeah.
That it is how we evaluate these guys. Pro Bowl voting history I just showed you says that's how they've done it. And now it's just a double standard for the best player we've ever seen, or one of the very best players we've ever seen.
But he's not even close statistically to what these other guys, these three guys did.
15-1.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Joe Burrow's is fighting for his
I get that,
life.
but that means his QB wins. Yeah, I think Pro Bowl is more individual.
But didn't I show you that that's not how the voters, maybe that's how you would do it. That's not how the voters have done it. Jim McMahon was not great that year. He had the best defense ever in Walter Payton.
Well, that was like his best year.
And it still wasn't a great year.
I don't remember what the other quarterbacks.
And so, no, I don't. Yeah. Of course, that's fair. But it is an odd spot where you're saying quarterback wins is more of an MVP thing. But he's 400-1 to win MVP. He has the.
But that's my point. Like, so the numbers are so pedestrian.
So what is it?
That's the thing. You gotta have like, one reason I say Jordan, and I don't want to start that argument, but is the GOAT. He's got the combination of wins and great individual stats that a Wilt or a Bill Russell didn't have. This is Mahomes with the wins, but not the great individual stats.
To me, it totally fails to take into the consideration that with right now, and I know you still believe in the Lions, I think you're starting maybe not to, because why? The defensive injuries we feel like have become too much.
Yeah.
When we talk about the Bengals, Joe Burrow is now doing a full-fledged push, smartly. We got to keep T. Higgins. We should sign these guys ahead of time because we need both the guys. The big argument for Josh over Lamar and MVP is doing more with less, kind of, right? You know what I mean? The Lamar is Derrick Henry. So, by week 4 of this season, this player was without wide receiver 1, 2, 4, and 5, running back 1, and 2 tight ends. And the guy, Travis Kelce, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it, during that same time frame, the discussion was, he's washed now. He doesn't have it. And you said it, I think correctly, that Kelce got a bit of a Swifty bump in the Pro Bowl voting because he had statistically his worst year. And yet every time they needed a play on offense, this guy made it. And everyone else, when the Niners have offensively close to, not as many, but close to the same injuries as the Chiefs, and they go 6-10.
They have better players.
They have better players.
Equivalent.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying your starting running back, your number 1 receiver, your number 2 receiver, all of it, we're like, well, what do you want from them? You know what I mean?
No, you're not like that. When Purdy loses his guys, you're not, well, what do you want? No, you're like, you rip him. And his passer rating was still higher than Mahomes.
But I would not be if he was finding ways to win despite it. They are. So,
but look, I think how great I think Mahomes is. I can't argue, even though I had him on my ballot, I can't argue with the writers who didn't put him ahead of these 3 guys. If you're looking at it as individual, not a team award, team wins, he didn't even have close to the numbers they had. That's the problem.
Go ahead. The challenging part for me, because I would have Burrow out and Mahomes in, is this graphic that Josh made, because you a lot of times talked about how great Mahomes was in the fourth quarter, right? Got to have it plays. Mahomes had to have it. He gets it. He seals the win, which I buy 100%, and I never thought they were going to lose when he had the ball in the fourth quarter, whether they were up or down. But at the same time, you can't make that argument, or it's harder to make the argument for Lamar when he was up 3 scores entering the fourth quarter. So I think an argument for Mahomes, although you haven't made it, so maybe I predicted a take that you didn't have, was that he was so clutch and got to have it moments, but Lamar and Josh kind of were in cruise control in the fourth quarter, so you never got. They had less of an opportunity to show them.
Lamar had plenty of opportunities. Lost 5 times.
That's fair.
He lost 5 times.
But again, that's just QB wins. I mean, the game they lost, Mahomes wasn't great.
No,
2
correct.
2 interceptions.
No, that is correct. The game they lost, and the reason it's quarterback wins right now is because Wildes was talking about, opportunities to show your clutch. That is a direct quarterback wins thing. So I will meet him where he's at. I think that we are going to. Right now, if all of us, I know you picked the Ravens, you're sticking with the Ravens, all of it, but none of us would be shocked if the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. And if right now it was like, hey, you get $1 million if you're right, and I promise I'll never tell anyone who you pick, and we all had to write it down on a piece of paper, I think all of us probably.
On the record.
You're right. You're on the record. He's going to win Super Bowl MVP, which is, by the way, and so we all think this team is likely to go 19-1, or I'm sorry, I keep forgetting this last game counts. 18-2 or 19-1, whatever it is, and win their 3rd straight Super Bowl. And I feel like when you look back on this in 2, 5, 10 years, be like, wow, the 2-time defending champs rolled through everyone en route to winning another Super Bowl. They must have just been covered in glory all year. It's like, no, actually. They had a league average number of Pro Bowlers. They didn't win any individual awards. The coach wasn't considered for Coach of the Year. The players weren't considered for Offensive Player, Defensive Player, or MVP. And in fact, the discussions about them most of the year was, we don't really think they're that good. And I just think it's a failing by the media. I truly do.
Again, outside of QB wins, what is the argument for Mahomes?
The argument,
other than his past greatness.
The argument is, do we think he no longer has the ability to be great statistically? Or do we think that he is a chameleon at this point in his career to the circumstances? And that if the team has Tyreek Hill and a middling defense, the way to win is high flying. And if the year they don't have Tyreek Hill but a middling defense, the way to win is outscore you, but all dinks and dunks. And if they have a team that cannot catch the ball to save their lives, the way to do it is to build them up so they're ready for the moment come the postseason. And if they have a team where it's like, and by the way, he played poorly if the argument is he played poorly the first 5 games, so he's out, so be it. But then it was, okay, we have a great defense, and we are trying to get a rookie wide receiver to be the top guy. We got Kareem Hunt off the street to be the running back. I just need to work on things for everyone else during the games and then figure it out. The argument is, because does anybody think that if he and Burrow, again, were flip-flopped, that he couldn't have amazing numbers with Higgins and Chase, but they wouldn't be 8-8? Because I saw that team. Everyone's like, look at what Joe Burrow's doing this year with a terrible defense. Yeah, I saw that. When Patrick Mahomes' first year as a starter with a worse defense. And guess what? It wasn't 40 touchdowns, 4,500 yards. It was 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards, 12 wins, and overtime in the AFC Championship.
But this is all ifs. We think, we believe, based on what he's done in the past. I get it, but this is about this year. Who are the more productive players? That's what it's about.
And I would say, do you think he would trade his season for any of those guys' seasons?
No, I mean, you want to win, especially as a quarterback.
Team.
I think even the guys that didn't vote for him feel he's the best quarterback in the league, or at least second, some of them. But I can't get up in arms over those guys having such better individual seasons
Okay.
than Mahomes.
Well, you know who can? The board. Bring the board. I don't even know how we're going to eliminate it, but the Pro Bowl, the whole Pro Bowl games is now on the board. The whole thing's going to be a farce. Like, Mahomes wasn't going to be able to go anyway because he would be preparing for the Super Bowl that week. But give me a break. I mean, Pro Bowl games right there. We know what they said. They said Mahomes stinks. That's what they said.
He's an alternate. He's sports.
Oh, he's an alternate.
He's an alternate.
So he puts that on his resume like Tyler Huntley and Mac Jones did.
I don't know how he
The
was
Pro Bowl
ace,
game
man.
says
Fan
Mahomes
vote.
stinks. That's what it is. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.